Greetings everyone, welcome back to another video presentation. Tom here with a studio painting this time rather than plein air out in the field. And I am painting here a memory. That's why you don't see a photograph in the inset image. It's the finished painting. I do this once in a while. I like to paint from memory. Really it's from imagination based on memory and experience. And so as I'm painting along, I'm remembering places, really the landscape images of my youth. Grew up in the Bear River Valley of northern Utah, and I made many forays and ventures into southern and southeast Idaho. And this really is a remembrance of a place, a valley that is, let's see, it would be west of Soda Springs and north of Grace, Idaho. It would be east of Lava Hot Springs. So the mountains, the way they come down into those broad open valleys, it's just a beautiful thing to me, and I enjoy painting them once in a while, just to just to remember, just to bring back some of those old feelings of my first, I guess, experiences of what beauty and grace is. And so that's what I gain from these memory paintings that I do. I don't recommend it always. One of the great challenges of doing that is that the artist can sometimes start painting things in such a style that it doesn't look like it's really representational anymore. And I like rooting what I do in reality as much as I possibly can. However, it is the painting of reality, painting from life, that I enjoy doing so much, that feeds into these paintings that I do from memory or from imagination based on memory. So there's knowledge being put into play here as I'm doing these paintings. They're not just for rote, but they are rooted in memory and experience, and in the experience of doing paintings from life. The landscape of this part of the country has the wide open valleys, and then the pines and the quakies start almost immediately as you enter into those foothills from there. So building forward, I actually put that there as a note to myself. So the lines that you're seeing that I'm drawing, very light lines, some will get a little heavier as I go further on in the painting, but they're going from back to front. They're in a radiating pattern, creating a sense of the depth of space of that valley floor that I'm painting. That's using the knowledge and understanding that I have of perspective to help execute that. And trying to anticipate what you might be wondering as you're looking at this, and I think you can see it in the inset image as compared with the painting. Right now the shadowed parts of those clouds look like they're kind of standing out a little too much, and they feel like they want to fold over the top of the mountainous landscape that I have not painted in yet. But when I get to that point and I paint in the darks of the mountainous landscape, those shadows of the clouds will slip back in the distance where they need to sit. So this is kind of a little bit of an act of faith, knowing what you're doing, again, based on experience, and following it through to the end. Well, okay. While this is going along here, I think I'll play some music now for you. Hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed the music. I enjoy including it. I hope that these videos serve as just a time and a moment of relaxation for you as much as anything else. I hope also that these videos serve as an opportunity for those who want to do some learning on their own to do so. You are welcome to take these videos, use them as a paint along and just follow along and see what you can do to learn and grow and practice your watercolor painting skills on your own. And hope that that can serve you well. Of course, I ask that you remember that this image is, the idea for it is mine. There are copyright laws. Please respect that, and I think for the most part people really do, so I appreciate that. But as I have said before, I am painting memories. This is a memory. If you were to hold a gun to my head, I could not tell you where this was in the real world, except that it's based on things I've seen. And even though in the beginning of the video I gave a fairly accurate or a fairly tight geographic location of where this scene might come from, still if you went there you would not necessarily see precisely this, but I think you would see the spirit of the place. I think you would see the atmosphere and the overall feeling, and that's as important to me as it is any kind of exact topographical accuracy that one may want to achieve. Now, as I'm working here, I'm working with smaller strokes, smaller details. They're not really details, but they are smaller strokes, and so they tend to intimate details. They tend to suggest the idea. And that's really what I'm doing with these little strokes I'm making in the foreground now. It's a matter of laying in the right kind of contrasts where they need to be in order to tell the story of the place that I am depicting. I'm really not all that aware of just how much of an issue this is in the visual art world, but I've heard the argument that yellow is actually a warmer color than red, even though in degrees Kelvin red registers higher, the highest. But I know that yellow, as it is painted in the landscape, it feels the most foreground of all the colors, and it's the color that leaves the scene the quickest as one extends back into the depth of space. And that's what I'm really depicting here, as I put those stronger, warmer yellows into the foreground, and they become something more like ochres and siennas in the distance, along with those gray greens and gray blues. So it's time to break out some white, some opaque white, and bring in just some little highlights of opacity, just little sparkles, something that begins to allude to the idea of structures in the scene and to communicate a sense of a focal point. So I decided that what was really needed here was some distance, a little more distance in that scene, and that simple ridge line coming down didn't quite feel like enough, and so very carefully I came in with a lighter gray, more washed out gray, and painted in the pattern of another ridge line of the mountains off in the distance there. And it helps to give a sense of distance to the overall scene. So I hope you see that, and I hope that you understand the effectiveness of it as it happens. So there's the final painting, all ready for presentation. Time to get matted and take to the framer and have the framer put a nice frame around it. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming along for the ride. I hope you've learned some good things. I hope you don't mind the length of the video. Just seemed to need a little more time, this one did. So Thank you for being a part of the ride. Take care. See you next time.